Hello everyone, my name is Wale Farham. I'm a tech entrepreneur and you're watching Tech Roundup, your weekly opinion, views and analysis of the top tech events happening around the world with a focus on Nigeria. Our anchor story this week is about BlackBerry's plan to make a comeback with a new flagship smartphone sometime this year. Also, we have a brand new segment for you on the show. It's called Tech Roundup Weekly, a quick roundup of some of the leading headlines in tech around the world every week. We have a packed show today, so let's get started. Our first story this week is about BlackBerry's big comeback. So BlackBerry is planning to re-enter the smartphone market as they've made known their intention to launch a flagship grade phone with a physical keyboard, 5G, and top-notch cameras. Although there's no definite timeline, they announced they'll be launching this year, 2021, in North America, Europe, and Asia. Africa is not mentioned in that story. For me, when I was reviewing and analyzing this story, I thought to look at it from three different perspectives. And I'd like to get your comments on them, plus your own opinions as well. One is, the first that came to mind is that it is never over, even when it is over. Because for me, I never thought we would hear BlackBerry as a company making big play in the smartphone market again. But this story got me thinking that, okay, never count anybody out. The fact that they are making a play means that I'm sure it is still run by really smart people. I mean, people made mistake in BlackBerry several years ago. They lost the market that they were leading. That happens. But the fact that they are still counting themselves to be able to come back into the game speaks volume. And I think individuals, entrepreneurs, businesses can just learn from that, period. So that's the first one for me. The second one is, out of curiosity, I'm really wondering what kind of market segment is BlackBerry going to target here? And how are they going to position this device that they want to bring out to resonate with that segment? If you look at what iPhone and Samsung and a few other top smartphone players in the world have done over the last few years, is to recognize their strength and play that strength up in different markets. The US is by far dominated by the iPhone, right? By far. But once you move out of the US, maybe once you move out of Europe and start going to Asia, start going to emerging markets, you see the dominance of Android-based phones led by Samsung and Technos, and it's all about positioning, where the high-end provider or producer of phones, and in our high-end phones, these are the things you can get, or where the low-end and it's for emerging market and things like that. So I'm just wondering what the positioning of this will be. And to the last point, which ties to the second one, is about how does BlackBerry get out of the credibility problem or credibility gap that they left the scene with. A lot of people, a lot of professionals who were using BlackBerry were disappointed in the fact that BlackBerry could not really keep up with emerging technologies, and a lot of corporates, a lot of companies had to move over to iPhone and other platforms. How do people shake themselves off that? How do we begin to trust that BlackBerry is making a play to stay and not just a flash in the pan again? So, I mean, these are the areas through, or lenses through which I looked at this story, but it's definitely an interesting one. It's one that I'm sure is catching a lot of attention around the world right now. Akan, how do you see this? What comes to mind when you read this headline about BlackBerry making a comeback?
Well, thank you for that introduction. The first thing that came to mind when I read the article was I was wondering The first thing I thought first about how much momentum Apple and Google have generated on their own devices, and I just wondered what BlackBerry could possibly do, or what their strategy would be to catch up. And I was thinking about it specifically from a software developer ecosystem standpoint. So part of the big reason, for example, that iPhones are so popular and Android devices are so popular, it's because if there's app, if there's Microsoft Word, any software that you want to use or that you use on your computer, you're guaranteed, if it's big enough and established enough, you're almost guaranteed to find a version that you can use on your iPhone or that you can use on your Android device. So there's compatibility there. And that makes it very, very easy for people to purchase those devices if they're already in an ecosystem. So for example, if you already use lots of Apple devices, you have apps that you use on your MacBook, you want to get an iPhone because there's you can easily transition information between both devices. And so I'm wondering, so I'm thinking specifically about the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. And I'm wondering, BlackBerry, they can come out with new devices, but those devices need apps to be made. They need developers to dedicate time to build software to put on the BlackBerry market. I don't even know what their marketplace is called.
They might decide to leverage. They might decide to leverage one of the existing ones. That's possible.
Right. It's super possible.
Jenny, very quickly on this story, what's catching your attention?
Yeah, thanks for that. It's actually a very interesting story. The BlackBerry is personal. I'm very sentimental about the phone, the device itself. I think it was my very first smartphone ever. So like, there's a part of me that's like, oh, this is so cool that they're coming back. But the truth is, a lot of the market has moved on, right? And like you said earlier, they didn't keep up with what people wanted. The audiences wanted change, and they didn't do that. They stuck with their model. They stuck with the physical keyboard. And if you look at some of these articles that have gone to print right now, they're still selling with they're coming back with the physical keyboard. And yes, there's quite a number of people who have a preference for the physical keyboard, maybe for its accuracy and all that. But then again, I mean, everybody has done everything else in every which way. I don't know what exactly is going to be new that BlackBerry will be bringing to the table that will make me stand out this time.
All right. Yeah. Good to get everyone's thoughts and opinion on this. This is definitely a space that we're going to continue to watch. This is Tech Roundup Weekly. Enjoy. You can catch full episode of Tech Roundup on Pop Central TV starting March 13 on DSTV channel 189. As always, we love to hear your comments and feedback, so please connect with me on LinkedIn or Twitter at Wole Faron. And also, please subscribe to the Tech Roundup YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Also, please like us on Facebook and on Instagram and be part of our ever-vibrant tech community. Have a good weekend, everyone. Until next week, good night.